On the 7th day of March 2025, once again, this is News Tonight at 8. My name is Patricia Lukoma Mpango, and straight away into the bulletin. The Prime Minister of Uganda, Robina Nabbanja, has directed the Ministry of Finance to immediately provide funds to Uganda Wildlife Authority to put up an electric fence around the major national parks to prevent human-wildlife conflict. The directive follows numerous complaints from the locals over rampant attacks by elephants. This was during her meeting with the Ministry of Tourism and members of Parliament from affected areas.
The communities around the major national parks, Murchison Falls National Park, Queen Elizabeth, and Kidepo National Park, have on several occasions raised concerns that elephants invade their homes, killing some of the people and properties destroyed. This morning, members of Parliament from the affected areas met the Prime Minister of Uganda, Robina Nabbanja, together with the State Minister for Tourism, Martin Mugara Bahinduka, and the Minister for Security, Major General Jim Muhwezi, to find a lasting solution to the problem.
The President directed some time back that we look for a solution, and we have all the national parks with elephants, fenced off with the electric fences.
We are likely to get very serious opposition from these communities if we do not handle the issues of electric fence, because our people have lost lives.
So I thought the most urgent thing now, which you can do immediately, is to compensate them so that they first are living, they are not cheating.
People are very desperate right now, and are being compared to the rest of the districts of Karamoja is very slippery.
Nabbanja says the question of human-wildlife conflict is a thorn around her neck whenever she steps on the floor of Parliament, and it must be solved once and for all.
Every time on Thursday, every Thursday, I will ask at least one question about that. Destruction of crops, loss of life, every Thursday. We want this to stop.
The State Minister for Tourism, Martin Mugara Bahinduka, requested that the ministry allows the Uganda Wildlife Authority to use funds that have been saved by the authority to put up the electric fence.
And our argument is that we can implement all these directives without touching or requesting any money from the consolidated fund. OWA is an entity that collects its own revenue and spends that source. The money is ours, it never goes to the consolidated fund. So we are seated with it. We will not allow it to spend, because right now the money now is spent on compensation.
Proposing to do it in phases. But what does that mean? That some people continue to suffer?
The minister was accompanied by the Executive Director of the Uganda Wildlife Authority, Samuel John Mwonda, who highlighted the scope of the work, requiring 63 million shillings per each kilometer of the electric fence.
Looking at doing 317 kilometers for Kidepo, doing 319 kilometers for Murchison Falls, and 147 for Queen Elizabeth.
Once the directive is implemented, Uganda Wildlife Authority will have to spend close to 50 billion Uganda shillings to fence off Murchison Falls, Queen Elizabeth, and the Kidepo National Park.
So the fence has shown that it is one of the things, the interventions that addresses well the human-wildlife conflict.
In Botswana, which has the largest population of elephants on the continent, it has been proven that they can put down the electric fence. So it's important that we have a lasting solution in where we can create a corridor for, and also the restoration of ecosystem.
The meeting was also attended by the State Minister for Primary Education, Mary Kaduchu, who provided tips of scaring the animals away as government seeks to build a fence.
When these animals are suspectedly coming, one of the things that chase them away is to make noise, beat drums, beat saucepans, whatever it is. This is one of the proven ways. And we tell our people, when you hear animal is coming, somebody's side, they start even in the night making noise. Then this animal will not come to the human family home. Number two, planting lady peppers. We've been encouraging, because The wire is not coming. We don't know even when. So the only thing is to plant these ready papers along the border. Yes.
The Prime Minister has now directed the Minister of Finance to immediately provide funds to Uganda Wildlife Authority to allow them put up the electric fence around all the major national parks.
Fast track the resources we have provided, how much they can cover and what is the gap.
It is now a directive.
Yes, social.
With or without your savings, we cannot see people die when they have money. Now it's us to implement that directive. I'm writing to retaliate its directive, but also to tell you that these people have their money. We need just to allow them to use the money, that's all.
The Prime Minister also directed the ministry to use the services of the Uganda People's Defence Forces Engineering Brigade to put up the fence around the national parks.
We are going to have Army Brigade to come in to implement the directive of the President. I don't want to disturb the President again.
Now, the implementation of legislations against all social inequalities is hindered by limited resources in the special sectors in the country. As the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development prioritizes improvement of women's livelihood and economic empowerment through the National Development Plan 4, we look at what the 30 years journey of women empowerment in Uganda has been like. Our reporter Farida Namfuka has the details.
Uganda is one of the 189 countries that signed the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, a global agenda to empower women and girls and to achieve gender equality of women and men. The second strategic objective of this declaration calls for countries to revise laws and administrative practices to ensure women's equal rights and access to economic resources. Countries committed to ensure equal access to economic resources, including land and credit. In Uganda, attempts have been made across sectors in formulation of policies, and where the country and legislations have been and passed against all social inequalities. However, many of these still remain on paper, falling short of effective implementation.
In the formulation of policies, the implementation and programs and projects, why don't the legislations who have done well to legislate against all the social inequalities? Implementation becomes a challenge because of the limited resources. I am sure even in the districts, the sector for gender is the one that receives the least money. It is not that the minister wishes to give you little money. We also get less at the ministry level. And therefore, this gives us a platform for open discussion that we need to advance more resources for gender equality and women empowerment.
When you come to other areas like implementation of the law, that still remains a challenge. Because oftentimes we still have to remind the men, because they are still the majority when it comes to decision making in this country. So we have to keep reminding them and keeping an eye onto some of the things that are actually done.
There was also a commitment to promote women's economic independence, including employment for women, to address the structural causes of poverty.
Persistent poverty, which is reflected in the face of a woman. According to UBOS 2022, 50% of the families are headed by women, compared to 39% of the families headed by men, the family households. This brings a tilt on the shift because we have always known that men are the heads of families.
Whereas the trajectory over the years indicates women in Uganda are gradually getting economically empowered and occupying influential managerial positions, both in the public and private sectors, persistent discrimination and negative social norms and practices against women, gender-based violence against them, teenage pregnancies, child marriages and deprived rights of widow inheritance of property in case of death still affects the struggle to women emancipation in Uganda.
Female genital mutilation, child sacrifices, all these things still happen within our communities. and we need to stand out very strongly against them. Don't be comfortable under the guise of culture. There isn't a culture that wishes to kill its own people. There isn't a culture that grows backwards. And cultures are transitional. Cultures change. And they change with the economies, they change with generations. So all those inequalities had been outlawed. The penal code, the constitution, the number of the legislations we have in this country are sufficient to undo all those inequalities that have always occurred under the guise of culture and sometimes religion.
Even issues affecting women like the Domestic Violence Act, the Trafficking in Persons Act, the Anti-Female Genital Mutilation Act, all these pieces of legislations were actually intended to benefit the women. And I must say that it has gone a long way in actually helping or reducing the violence. Although there is still violence, but that has helped in reducing the violence against.
One of the critical areas of concern in the declaration is not to isolate the matter of human rights, which remains the only way to build a sustainable and just leveled playing ground for women in all aspects of life in society. Gorethi Namuga is a member of parliament representing Maogola County in the 11th parliament, says talking about women empowerment without addressing issues of human rights is a fallacy.
When you look at the ongoing events currently, issues of abductions, issues of women in prisons, women have been made widows at a very young age. Some girls have been denied education. So to me as a leader, I'm very, very concerned whether you have good policies, you have good laws in place, but if you don't respect issues of human rights, it is the woman who becomes at the end of the day vulnerable. When we look at issues of wars, issues of instability, it is women who become widows, women who remain with children. So we need to look into issues of human rights. For me, I cannot say that all is well, even if you gave me money for UWEP, even if you gave me money under the parish model, even if you gave me a myoga, when the home is not stable, it is very useless. So for me, I call upon the government to ensure that we observe human rights, we respect human rights. Violation of human rights is rampant currently. When our husbands are arrested, it is us who suffer.
However, a Jumani District Woman Member of Parliament Jessica Ababiku hailed government's efforts in the fight against discrimination of women in the management of society.
But to be honest, we have been empowered compared to what was in the past. So I want to thank the government for providing for this affirmative action through the government systems, which also impacted positively in the societies, because our communities had to copy, had to adopt what the government provided for. Therefore, the earlier stigmas, the earlier, segregation, selective promotion of children at different levels is actually dead. If it is there, it is maybe at 0.1% in some societies.
However, for Uganda to implement its commitments in line with the Beijing Declaration, the need to promote women efficiency in decision-making at the national level is paramount.
It's 30 years since affirmative action was passed to legislate to give a woman an opportunity, but one woman to represent a district. But it left an open door for anyone, male or female, to contest on the open seat. We have not had more than 20 women making it to Parliament on the open seat in the last 6 elective periods. This therefore shows that we need to amplify ourselves and contest, register, contest even on the open seat. The open seat remains an open seat if women are open to it. It's also wise to vote using our numerical powers, but also negotiate for the numerical powers that we have through the vote to ensure that gender issues are addressed by whoever we vote.
We have seen that in, for example, the political arena, women are provided for. There are special seats for women, but also women are free to contest for direct seats. And some women have made it through the direct seats to Parliament. But it has also enabled the population to appreciate that women can equally play a similar role like the men in the political arena.
In the next 5 years, the Uganda government looks at enforcing laws to capitalize the land fund, improve access to social services focusing on health, education, skilling of women and providing water and energy to save women from fetching firewood. I'm Nafka Farid and Gloria Gwitabinji in Kampala.
Well, thank you very much, the Namfuka Farid, and of course, a 30-year journey also demonstrates a lot of women have rose onto the boardroom and top positions within the government, and we are truly thankful to the government for promoting and empowering women. Now, as we move ahead, court has declined to grant prosecution time to meet Dr. Kiza Besigye and Haji Obedi Kamlegeya to have their say on the application they wish to file in court. Court ordered prosecution to file written submissions to court in regards to this application. Now, according to the accused legal team, they said the application is intended to allow prosecution to have access to the due of funds with the aim to gather evidence which they intend to rely on during the prosecution.
The time check was 8:30 a.m. when we heard Dr. Kiza Besigye, Obedi Lieutenant Captain Dennis Olal, appeared at Nakawa Chief Magistrate's Court under tight security. The court that started at 10:30, Dr. Kiza Besigye, who was this time able to walk himself to court, together with his co-accused, appeared before Chief Magistrate Esther Nandoi to know the status of the preferred offences of treason and mistreason of prison. Prosecution led by Richard Vumbuka informed court that inquiries into the case are ongoing. With this, he asked court for more time.
We assure him that the remaining inquiries are expedited to ensure the committal of the accused persons to high court.
Prayers were, however, objected by the defense legal team, led by lawyer Frederick Impanga, on grounds that they need to know the required time by the prosecution to end the inquiries.
Kindly ask the state to give us an indication of those remaining inquiries so that we know, otherwise we might be chasing the wind.
In the contested period of 6 months, of course, I believe there is no legal basis for that. For that 1 year, we submit that it is been time enough for them to make any disclosures if necessary.
The defense also asked court prosecution to avail them with the pending investigations, which prayers were also objected by the prosecution.
The spirit of the prosecution in Article 28, it is that spirit we seek this honorable court to uphold.
We are entitled to adequate time and facilities to prepare for the defense. We are sticking to facilities. We are not asking for money, but so that we can plan appropriately.
Because it may jeopardize investigations, whether inquiries are still complete or they are complete. And for as long as we are still operating within the 6 months, within which the investigations are supposed to be carried out.
Court overruled the prayers of the defense, however ordered prosecution to speed up with the investigations. Shortly after the ruling, the defense was surprised when the prosecution submitted another file and application asking court to allow them access to the accused to have their consent in regards to extract information from their phones. Objecting to the prayers, defense lawyer Mpanga Lukwago held with a view that this will infringe on the accused's rights to fair hearing. They asked court to adjourn the case to another date.
Because we're mindful of the fact that the affidavits wouldn't be prepared by the accused persons when we visit court, we visit prisons. So much so that if we are ready, they have to be read to them, they understand, and then agree.
Prudence of demand that they serve immediately. So we wonder why they never served it on us. One of the fifth one was a crime.
Chief Magistrate Esther Nandoi objected to grant prosecution prayers, however directed all parties to file written submissions in the pending application, starting on 11th March 2025.
Then rejoinder, if any, will be by the 13th of March.
According to the defense legal team, The pending application by the prosecution seeks court to grant them permission to access the phones of the accused persons to gather evidence. The case was adjourned to 14th March 2025 to hear the application after court Elias Lukwago, one of the accused's lawyers, expressed concern on how the matter is being handled ever since the accused were arrested, and also raised the need for the accused to be granted temporary freedom.
If they had a case against them, they would have assembled evidence by now. But to see to it that up to this particular moment, address this as if it's not a very urgent matter of great human rights concern. They are still fishing around to see if they can get some evidence to piece up together the case. We filed a bail application in the High Court, and it is our call that the judiciary should expedite the process of allocating this file to a particular judge, and then we have it fixed.
Retired Colonel Dr. Kizabe Sije obeyed Lieutenant Captain Dennis Oral at Nakawa Chief Magistrate's Court are facing charges of treason and mistreason of prison. Deborah Namamonde, Viola Nance Subuga, UBC News.
Now, the Vice President and Woman Member of Parliament for Katakwi District, Jessica Alupo, has asked women from different Christian denominations to extend a hand of solidarity to fellow women and mentor the younger generation to work towards the world where every woman's potential is nurtured and celebrated. Alupo told women who gathered at Namugongo Catholic Shrine to celebrate the International Women's Day of Prayer that together they stand as sisters in Christ, lifting one another up and interceding for a world where every woman is valued and empowered.
The theme, beautiful theme indeed, which is from Psalm 139, verse 14. This occasion is a reminder of the beauty, the strength, and dignity that God has bestowed upon every woman. It is a day to honor the remarkable contributions of women in our families, our communities, our church, and indeed our country. As we celebrate today, we also acknowledge the progress made in empowering women here in our country. The government, under the leadership of His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the President of the Republic of Uganda, has continuously championed policies and initiatives aimed at improving the lives of all women across the country. Programs in education, health, economic empowerment, and leadership development have provided women with both opportunities to excel in various fields. In conclusion, further, I would like to add that in the midst of life's demands, balancing work, house chores, motherhood, marriage, and service in the church, where women have continuously demonstrated resilience and unwavering dedication, it is essential to equip ourselves with skills that allow us to navigate the roles effectively. For instance, time management. Second, self-care and mental wellness. Third, seeking support. In addition, financial empowerment and faith and prayer. Ladies and gentlemen, let us extend a hand of solidarity to our fellow women, mentor the young generation, and work towards a world where every woman's potential is nurtured and celebrated. Let us utilize the conducive environment of peace and security currently prevailing in the whole of Uganda to participate in livelihood programs of government geared towards uplifting the economic status of women so that women in all categories, from village to town council, from town council to municipality, from municipality to city, join the money economy. Above all, let me reiterate that let us be good role models and mentors, for we are mothers to all. I thank you once again, and I congratulate you on this successful World Women's Day of Prayer and celebration.
And we're all looking forward to tomorrow, the D-Day, 8th March 2025, where women around the world celebrate and commemorate the empowerment of women. As we move ahead, the first Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for East African Community Affairs, Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga, has commended government for the strides reached towards women empowerment despite existing challenges. Kadaga is one of Uganda's prominent women who have contributed greatly towards women empowerment through legislation. Let's hear more in this report.
A lawyer and successful politician, the first Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for East African Community Affairs, Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga, is one of those celebrated women who have contributed towards the empowerment of women.
Now, interestingly, I did not set out to be a politician. I was mainly in activism. I was the president of FIDA Uganda, and my work was to advocate for women's rights and so on. But along the way, I was diverted now to go, instead of speaking from outside on the street and demonstrating and addressing press conferences, I was diverted into now being at the center in the National Resistance Council so that I could speak and make the changes from within the institutions. It has been an interesting journey, but all I can say is that it's not an easy journey. To make changes in policy and legislation in society, it's a job you have to do for a long time and consistently. And there are many barriers, but I think I'm delighted that a number of things have been achieved so far. For instance, combining my legal experience and my activism, we established the Legal Aid Center of FIDA, the first one in the whole country, in 1988, to support the poor people who cannot afford lawyers and so on.
She joined the politics in 1989.
I started as a race one chairperson, and at that time we had the resistance councils. So every week we were having new elections for new positions. So after that, I was elected as the LC2 chairperson of the parish of Muramuti. Then from there, I was sent to the district as their representative, and then later I was elected to the NRC as a representative to represent them in Parliament from the resistance councils. So I started from the village.
During her tenure as the Speaker of Parliament between 2011 and 2021, a number of laws geared at protecting the rights of women were passed.
I have also influenced a lot of policies. For instance, working together with other members, we enacted a number of laws. The law against trafficking was from the Women Caucus of Parliament. The law against FGM was done by the Women Caucus together with some good men like Dr. Variomusi. I have made changes in the legislation. For instance, in the committees of Parliament, I made sure that the law says 40% of the positions of the chairpersons must be women, because there was a time when there were none, and the men were not allowing the women to get involved. I've also, the first daycare center in the government facility was when I was the Speaker at Parliament. Established the first daycare center in the whole country in a government institution, and now it has become a policy.
Although there are several strides achieved towards the empowerment of women, Kadaga concedes that a lot desires to be done in order for women to realize their full potential.
The women are about 60% of the population of East Africa. They still have economic challenges, social challenges. They still suffer from violence at the education level. The lower level, the rate of attrition is still high. Many girl children are dropping out of school. So many do not complete the primary cycle, many don't complete the secondary cycle.
Kadaga has also played a key role in supporting girls' education as a form of empowerment.
I do have the Kamuli Girls Education Trust Fund, and I must have educated over 10,000 children, including some boys. But it's because I realized that at some stage you have brilliant children and their parents don't have money or are not who performs well at P7 with good grades and she has no support will be supported by my fund.
According to Rebecca Kadaga, a lot has been achieved in regard to raising the profile of women, despite the existence of some challenges that need to be tackled.
Indeed, her journey tells it all. Prominent she is. Now, government has been urged to adequately increase funding for justice, law and order sector, plus other stakeholders who advocate for the rights of girls and young women in order to promote gender equality. This call was made by the chairperson of Uganda Women Parliamentary Association, Sarah Opendi, during a press conference organized by the Gallup Initiative Uganda in preparation for International Women's Day. Girls and young women have expressed concerns that they are often excluded from decision-making processes, especially at parish and national levels. As the International Women's Day is commemorated, they are calling for their inclusion in key policies and decision-making.
Issues that we actually have in that strategic plan is the education, quality education of the girls, but also ensuring that violence against women and girls actually comes to an end. We have actually been advocating for safe houses where those women who actually face or have faced domestic violence can be sheltered so that during that period their cases can be handled. So the challenge of funding remains because the laws that I already talked about that are actually in place, there is inadequate funding to support those institutions that are responsible for enforcing these laws. We continue to urge government to increase funding to the police, the investigative arm, but also the judiciary.
Yeah, so we work with UOPA to see that we ensure that girls and young women have a voice. Their issues are tabled at the floor of parliament. As laws are being tabled, we want to see that they also carry voices of girls and young women. So most of the times we hear that girls are here, women are here, our government, we really appreciate the government that it has given us really the space. But our call, our plea is we want the girls and young women to also be part of that space.
We recommend that leaders should invite girls and young women in decision-making meetings, for example, in the district, health committees, among others. This will enable their ideas and voices to be heard and considered.
While the whole bulletin is dominated by celebrating the Women's Week, and of course the D-Day is tomorrow. Now, Minister for Gender, Labour and Social Development, Betty Amonge, has called on women to actively seek leadership positions and participate in decision-making processes. She made these remarks while speaking at the 2025 National Women's Council Conference in Kampala. Well, we do apologize for that technical glitch, but we will be bringing that story in a short while or in our next bulletin. Now, women's land rights movement has called for harmonization of laws to address the issues derailing equal ownership of land and property. The call follows the continued trend of hostility and marginalization of women over land ownership across the country.
Despite ongoing advocacy for gender equality and women's empowerment, these fundamental rights remain largely out of reach.
Women continue to face significant challenges, including violence, hostility and marginalization in securing land rights in the country. This has been due to issues like social norms, patriarchal structures and discriminatory legal systems, often leading to limited access, control and ownership of land.
The fight for justice has proven to be an uphill battle for many women as they face both legal and societal obstacles when seeking redress for land disputes and other rights violations.
The Women's Day 2025 call to action Women Land Rights Movement is concerned over the unresolved inequalities in land acquisition and ownership. They think government should put emphasis on harmonization of laws to address the issues derailing equal ownership of land and property.
The one challenge we have on land is violations on land are purely around those that have the power and those that use the power to get an edge over the others.
Sustainable Development Goal number 5 directs countries to undertake reforms to give women equal rights to economic resources, as well as access to ownership and control over land and other forms of property, financial services, inherent and natural resources, in accordance with the national laws.
We reaffirm that securing women's land rights is essential to accelerating gender equality and is a critical step towards the achievement of SDG 5 and 5A.
It should also be noted that the Ministry of Lands has been making reviews of the National Land Policy 2013. The members of civil society have, however, called for an intended move to ensure that issues affecting women in acquisition and ownership of land are incorporated into the National Land Policy. They also want the government to address all violations on women's land rights, including providing accountability on land service delivery and addressing threats on social stability.
We have witnessed this where land cases even go up to 20 years and there is no judgment to that effect. This situation reinforces poverty, uncertainty and insecurity among communities.
The International Women's Day 2025 will be commemorated under the theme Accelerating Action for Gender Equality. Susan Naung and Andrew Sebira reporting for EBC TV.
As the International Women's Day closes in, financial institutions have been advised to explore artificial intelligence (AI) to demystify the barriers in loan acquisition, especially to women entrepreneurs. Senior Presidential Advisor on Agribusiness, Dr. Emmanuel Hilary Musoke, says over the years the NRM government has come up with initiatives to financially empower women.
Poverty is bad. Poverty can bring all vices.
The biggest challenge is finances.
Women under the New Faces, New Voices meeting in Kampala say the stringent financial legalities by many financial intermediaries have not accelerated development of the rural woman.
It's not only bureaucracy, that's just a small aspect. It's the appraisal procedure. You bring this. I mean, if I want money to inject in a business to do a season like school time, then you give me the money after 6 months. You have already blown up my conversion circle.
Despite various financial empowerment programs, rural women remain underserved.
Also, sometimes the technicalities in the documentation, sometimes even the workers of the banks don't understand the nature of businesses women are involved in. For example, when they go to assess, they may not know the different techniques and dynamics of this business. And this either demoralizes this person requesting for the loan.
According to the president of African Women Empowerment Network Uganda, Winnie Lawoko Olwe, Ugandans need to embrace ICT and artificial intelligence to push the agenda for demystifying women financial inclusion.
I think we keep playing around digitization and ICT, and we have not gone deep enough to know that all these things that we want women to bring as collateral has been demystified by IA. If we can do our artificial intelligence well enough, we should no longer be asking women to come with collateral. We should no longer be asking women to have land.
It is believed that empowering women through financial inclusion can have a transformative impact on their lives and communities. I purposefully came intending to find ways of raising funding for my business, as I needed to shift from basic kitchen equipment that I was using for production to proper equipment to be able to get my products certified. When I came here, I shared my journey. And through this platform, Women Leadership for Financial Inclusion and Economic Recovery, I came to learn of so many opportunities.
The biggest challenge in Uganda, there is no collectiveness in whatever intervention. Human beings in Uganda are still individualistic. The Baganda say agali awam. They were not mad. It made a lot. So what we do under New Faces, New Voices, we did it in Rengo, we did it in Gomba. We want to do it in the East. We are still looking for partners. We want to create women groups of 30 and try to identify what economic activity is key.
As the country prepares to join the rest of the world to commemorate International Women's Day, initiatives like New Faces, New Voices are paving the way for a more inclusive and equitable financial landscape.
Now, as we prepare to celebrate International Women's Day tonight, we profile some women village health workers in Chireka C-Zone, Wakiso District, who have gone out of their way to serve their communities. These women were empowered and skilled by Living Goods, a non-profit organization, as we hear more in this report.
Village health teams, VHTs, are community volunteers who provide basic health care in Uganda. They are the first point of contact for many health-related issues in communities. VHTs were established by the Ministry of Health to empower communities to take part in decisions that affect their health, mobilize communities for health programs, and strengthen the delivery of health services at household level. Dorothy Kisitu is one of the village health workers in Chireka C zone. She explains how she executes her work daily.
Malaria, tumujanjabisa ACT, nga tusoosemu kebera na MRDT, ne tulaba oba omwana alina omusujja oba talina. Pneumonia, tumukeberera ku timer, okumanya ebirundi omwana gy'assaamu n'ebbanga ly'alina, okusobola okumanya nti ono omwana mulwadde wa pneumonia, era ne tumujanjabisa n'amoxicillin. Ate ekirala, ekiddukano kiva ku bukyafu. Obuchafu obugenda maaso.
Nuru Serwaji is also one of the village health worker trained by Living Goods. Hers is a request to government for more funding to the health sector and also consider them allowances or better still a salary.
Government banaye tulowoozeeko ng'abasawo b'e ku byalo. Tukola omulimu munene, tutambulira mu bulumi, tuweereko naffe ku budget tutereko ku musaala, ti buli mwezi BHT anaafunangayo bwe kati. Tuleme kubeera ku kigambo kimu volunteer, naye naffe tukikoye ekigambo ekyo ekya volunteer. Kubanga omulimu gwe tukola munene nnyo okusinga n'omusawo oli atudde wali mu ntebe ku ddwaliro.
Some of the VHTs are concerned about the US directive to suspend aid on health services.
America okutujjako obuyambi kitukosezza kubanga abantu babadde bafuna obujjanjabi wonna wonna we bali. Kati being nti nno obujjanjabi tebuliiko boundaries. Nyinza okubeera owa Chireka C n'eddagala lya Living Goods nsobola oddigabako ne ku neighboring village. Singa omwana asangibwa nga mulwadde ate nga neighbor wange ku kyalo eddagala limuweddeko, nsobola okumuwa ku lya Living Goods ekitali ku gavumenti. Kale kitukosezza ate naffe ne tuwulira bubi kubanga nabo babadde mikwano gyaffe.
Living Goods provided the VHTs with digital tools to monitor patient data, deliver targeted care and track outcomes. Emi Kakiza Rakihembo, Director Advocacy and Strategic Partnership at Living Goods, notes that the organization's work aligns seamlessly with the Ministry of Health strategic goals.
Working with partners like Global Fund and UNICEF to see how do we work closely together to ensure that community health workers have the equipment, which is the digital tools, have the commodities for integrated community case management, but also have a good supervisory structure. So we really commend the government of Uganda for introducing a new community health cadre, who are the community health extension workers, the CHOOS. And we know that this is an opportunity to have a good, strengthened community health system where the VHTs, the village health teams across the country, would be able to have a layer of supervision with the CHOOS. The government has also committed to providing remuneration for the CHOOS, and that is so critical.
Studies show that Living Goods interventions have reduced child mortality by 27% in their areas of operation. Each year, community health workers supported by Living Goods serve 7.5 million people, ensuring families receive essential health care services for less than $2 per person annually. By 2026, the organization aims to improve health outcomes for over 9 million people while enabling government to fully own and fund their community health outcomes. Zahara Abigaba, UBC News.
Here's your chance to win school fees for your child for a whole year. Just pay school fees using Momo.
Hey, Nkowe High School. Now wana tufunye wo muwanguzi owa MTN Momo. Ye wangu de school fees ezo mwaka mulamba tebereza. Hey, owulira otya mutima kati.
Banange sanyu byenye nali amochi wago nyanjaga nyango amali walonze erinyo.
Eshishi?
Njani awangula school fees.
Eza Momo.
Eza Momo.
Ezo mwaka mulamba.
Okumala mwaka mulamba de musanyu.
Oh my goodness.
Banange MTN mwene yanza ne yanze.
Wanje?
Mwebale nnyo mwebalire ddala.
Nkubiriza muzadde munange yonna gy'oli. Wallahi sasulia school fees for Momo Pay.
Dial *165 *80 hash. Select option 2 for school pay. Select option 1 to pay school fees. Enter the student number and amount and approve the transaction. You will now enter the draw to win school fees for your child for a whole year.
Looking for instant excitement? The Uganda National Lottery Spin for Cash game is now available online. Wherever you are, you can join the excitement for just 500, 1,000 and 2,000 Uganda shillings. Don't miss out. Register now on www.nationallottery.go.ug for a chance to win your share of 2 billion instantly. What are you waiting for? Play Spin for Cash now, anytime, anywhere. Ituba is the proud operator of the Uganda National Lottery.
Uganda National Lottery. Dream, play, win.
Participants must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The Uganda National Lottery is operated by Ituba Uganda and regulated by the National Lotteries and Gaming Regulatory Board.
Step into a world of excellence, comfort and pride with Royal Foam Furniture, crafted to perfection right here in Uganda. We bring you state-of-the-art living room furniture and bedding products at affordable prices. Our wide variety of mattresses include orthopedic, pillow top, spring mattresses suitable for institutions like hotels and many others for home comfort. With every piece telling a story of royal excellence, our products are built with the highest quality materials made to last. Experience royalty with Royal Foam Furniture, proudly made in Uganda, so buy Uganda and build Uganda. Visit our showrooms at Ginger Road, Chambogo Junction, Bukota Chisasi Road, and on Victoria Mall, Entebbe, on the first floor.
A smile that is white, fresh and beautiful is a smile to be proud of. Discover new Colgate White and Fresh for the whole family with high quality and an incredible price.
Welcome back from that short break. Now, as we continue again with the Women Week, over the past 30 years, Uganda has witnessed a gradual shift in the media landscape thanks to various women empowerment programs. One of the most notable changes has been the increasing number of women in leadership roles within the media, including managerial and editorial positions that were largely limited to men in the past. Dr. Patricia Lukoma, a media specialist and communications expert with over 24 years of media practice, shares her insights on this transformation and her personal journey in the media industry.
Dr. Patricia Lukoma is the board chair of Uganda Media Women Association. Among other portfolios she holds, she says while change may take time, the empowerment of women in the media is undeniably progressing.
We have increased women in leadership. That has been a breakthrough because that's one of the things we used to demand, advocate for. And there's so many women now we see in those leadership positions that used to seem like it's a male's world. The question is, do we make a difference when we get there?
However, she points out that men in leadership positions often assign women to soft news stories, which frequently portray them as inferior to their male counterparts.
For centuries, women have proved that actually they can make a difference in leadership, in making change, in contributing to public life. Remember that in a patriarchal society like Uganda, there are statements when you're growing up as a female, you're told women should be seen, not heard. So the emphasis is on what you look like.
Reflecting on the role of women in the media and leadership positions, Dr. Lukoma highlights that women leaders often emulate their male counterparts, a typical defect of society.
But there isn't a significant difference because the majority of the people running these newsrooms are still male. The majority of people in leadership are still male, guided by cultural orientation. And so the way they think hasn't changed much, doesn't change much. Most of us, the women who go into this leadership, I want to be like that man when I am a boss.
As sexual harassment continues to be a pervasive issue in many media houses, policies aimed at preventing sexual harassment may exist, but their implementation remains limited and ineffective.
I'll tell you they're gender sensitive in their HR process, in their recruitment. They will not tolerate sexual abuse, they will sack. But when these instances actually happen, you realize that implementation is a problem. They'll want you to push this issue under the carpet because this is a senior editor or whoever this person is, or they'll want to negotiate away. So it's not always that the woman doesn't want. And I think we need to understand that. But the majority of the cases, you find that she's in a difficult place and she makes that hard choice, or she's genuinely harassed, and some people just walk away from the workplace, and those are one of the reasons we have a high turnover.
While women in media remain a sport for the public eye, Dr. Lukoma says the female gender remains intimidated into silence, hesitant to express their views for a fear of backlash or harassment.
So for me, that is where we've made a mistake. Isolating women and preparing them, empowering them, and forgetting the man. So the man will keep thinking the way he has always thought, I am in charge, I have paid my cows, you're my property, you do as I say. Meanwhile, you're beginning to demand your rights. So obviously there will be conflict, there will be battering. Most of those places where you hear domestic violence, many times the woman has challenged the man.
Describing the empowered media woman, Dr. Lukoma emphasizes, among others, must possess a deep understanding of journalism and the ethical responsibilities that come with it.
There are key tenets that they equip you with. What does hard news look like? How is a feature written? How do you edit? You know, there are some of us who come into this field because we seemed popular somewhere. Maybe I'm an MC, and so a radio television station will take me up because of my audience appeal. But I know nothing about news, I know nothing about the 5 Ws and you know those basic principles of the profession. For me, that is the step one. You must constantly improve yourself.
Litho also urged women in the media to recognize their role in empowering other women by reconnecting with them at grassroots levels, where they can identify the unique challenges women face in communities. For women to make a difference in the media industry, Dr. Litho believes they must take a proactive role in shaping their own futures.
Of course, most of us women will quickly think, okay, I'm going to make daddies because I know how to cook, I am going to plait hair. But those are also time consuming and what. But if you have equipped yourself with skills in new technology, you can work from home, you can work at work and earn money because you know how to post, you know how to tweet, you have a following, you know how to edit on phone. I even remember of recent, in the last 2 years, I've heard of courses on how to take photos with your phone. It seems obvious, but it's not. How do I take a photo with my phone and it looks professional? Do you know how to do all those things we learned when we were learning on an analog camera, white balance and things like that? Do I know how to edit a video? Do I know how to edit a photo? Yes? So you know I have to look for, I almost said Juma, but I have to look for someone to help me because I have not equipped myself with those skills. But yet I could earn an extra income like that. So now we need an all-round journalist who can do digital, who can do print, who can do broadcast, who can edit.
While the road to full empowerment may still be long, Dr. Litho's insights provide a hopeful outlook for the future of women in the media. With continuous effort, collaboration and education, celebrating women in Uganda's media industry can play a crucial role in shaping a more inclusive and equitable media environment. Kayen Faith, Juma Nsamba for UBC.
Thank you very much there, Team Kayen. Now let's get back to the story of the National Women Council, where Minister for Gender, Labour and Social Development, Betty Amonge, called upon women to actively seek leadership positions and participate in decision-making processes.
Women leaders at the 2025 National Women's Council Conference expressed concern over the recent rationalization of government agencies, which negatively impacted on funding of women programs.
I apologize on their behalf. But this is a discussion that is online. So meaning you are still very important to deliver other people on board. Only and only on Women's Day that we take stock on the achievements that have been gotten by the women of Uganda. The government of Uganda has put in place so many activities, so many avenues of empowering the women of Uganda.
Minister for Gender, Labour and Social Development, Betty Amonge, assured the women that government is prepared to address all emerging issues of funding of all programs.
They said merge the women, the youth, persons with disability and older persons secretariat. They thought also they were merging the function of the council. So it took us a lot of time to keep explaining in cabinet. Cabinet understood, but then because the technical team in the Ministry of Finance does not know how the councils function, then for them they said, no, we are going to now have only small operational fund for each of the council.
She noted that efforts are being made to raise funds so that Women's Day celebrations continue in their respective local communities as it has been.
What should you do for women? Because women look at you in your district. The technical, actually you are supposed to be the technical person for the district on what should be done for women.
The chairperson, National Women's Council, Hajat Farida Chibowa, emphasized the importance of increasing women's representation in leadership positions to ensure their voices are heard and their goals achieved.
Discussed a number of issues that I think government is ready to handle. During the Women's Week activity, we had an opportunity. We were hosted by the Speaker of Parliament to the Parliament of Uganda, the second Women's Parliament was held on the 3rd March. We want to take this opportunity to thank the Speaker, Right Honourable Anita Among, for giving the rural woman space to speak on the floor of Parliament.
Not so. In politics, there is no sympathy. The Electoral Commission has already opened and said all positions are open for contest.
As Uganda joins the world in celebrating International Women's Day, many women are still hopeful for better opportunities. Cayenne Faith, Chamil Sekaja for UBC.
Well, thank you once again for choosing us. And now for those who won't join us at News Tonight at 10, we want to wish you a happy Women's Day tomorrow. It is the D-Day, and as national broadcasters, we will be broadcasting live at Chankwanzi. Well, stay tuned. Let's meet again at 10. My name is Patricia Lukoma Mpango. Mugalu Mohammed joined us a little bit later onto the set. Bye-bye.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
International Women's Day is celebrated annually on 8th March. It is a time to reflect on progress made, to call for change, and to celebrate acts of courage and determination play by women. On Saturday, 8th March, Uganda will join the rest of the world to commemorate International Women's Day. The national celebrations will be held in Chankwanzi district under the theme Accelerate Action for Gender Equality. The President of the Republic of Uganda, Yoweri